What's up, everybody? This is Steven's story, back at it again, featuring my dad, Charles Story. I know y'all hear me talk about him a lot, as far as it relates to manhood, as it relates to entrepreneurship. Darius, what's up? Entrepreneurship as it relates to personal development. So this is who set me on that path 30 years ago, and we're going to be talking about, again, as the title says, guys, we're going to be talking about entrepreneurship. Guys, we're at the end of the year, end of 2018, and some of you want to start a business, some of you want to get better at business, some of you are trying to get in touch with your manhood, your masculinity. You want to be better as a man. Obviously, it's my dad, so my dad has a lot of knowledge on fatherhood and parenthood. And as well, we're going to talk about some self-development. So, guys, if y'all have questions, please ask away. If you got questions for my dad, ask away. Dad, you got anything you want?
Well, I'm honored, Stephen, to share this time with you. It's a dad's report card to see their children, their son, take on some of the things that have been so key and important in my development. And I like to think that as much as I have been developed, it's still an ongoing journey. The development continues. So, yes, I would like to sort of get the feel of you guys out there to get some questions, to share with you in this time we got today.
So let's talk about we were talking earlier today all about something that you went through early in life, which is this. So some of you as young people have achieved a level of success that can make you complacent. And so you got a story about when you were a manager at Sears 30-some years ago.
Yeah, when I came out of college, I went into management, and this was in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So young African Americans didn't have a model or a role model to attach to that had been in the management circles of a department store management. So I got on the fast track coming out of school. So in a matter of 2 or 3 years, I was doing well. But my comparison in a small market like that, it seemed like I seemed as if I had reached the level of being a big fish in a little pond. But in the overall scheme of things, I still was a small fish, and I was just beginning my whole career path. So I was sharing with Stephen earlier today. There was a book that was so key in my development, it changed my thinking. And the book, the name of it was The Magic of Thinking Big. And what it really related to was my future, and all the things that I was going to accomplish in life was going to be germane to how I thought. So I had to think beyond status quo. And that book pushed me to get outside of status quo, dream big, plan big, and have great expectations. So it pushed me. It stopped me from being complacent. I stopped viewing my development by the small environment I was in. And I started aiming bigger. And I eliminated doubt, and it built my confidence.
So the book is The Magic of Thinking Big.
And I think the author is David Schwartz. And I did check not too long ago. This was over 30 years ago, probably over 40 years ago. And that book, it just transformed my thinking. And I was talking to you, Stephen, and you said there was other books that did the same thing for you.
Oh yeah, Think and Grow Rich. Immediately, as soon as I read Think and Grow Rich, guys, one thing you need to understand about books, these books that you read, you need to understand that a book can resonate with you harder than other books. So for my dad, it was The Magic of Thinking Big. For me, it was Think and Grow Rich. I read it, and immediately I was like, wow, I need this. This is for me. And we all have those books, but you can read, it's better to read those type of books that resonate with you as opposed to just reading any old self-help book, you know?
Yeah, if it doesn't grab you and shape your thinking, that may not be the one. There's some good concepts. Now, what it did for me, after I got into David Schwartz, then Norman Vincent Peale and some of the other gurus, Zig Ziglar and all these gurus who they help to shape your mind. And what I teach a lot is about, I don't try to change actions of people. I want to help them change the way they think, because the way you think affects what you do. So when I changed the way I was thinking, then my actions followed suit based on my thinking.
Yeah. It's I think I talk about mindset a lot as well, and I think think grow rich, magic of thinking big. The operative words are thinking, and just like you were saying, I think that well, let's go back a couple steps, guys. Let's talk about what you did after you left Sears.
Well, so now I was on a fast track, but I was a young man. So I went immediately into management out of college. So I was 21 and I was a manager, middle manager. And then once my thinking changed, my goals got bigger. My dreams were bigger. So now here I am with bigger dreams, bigger goals. The company's plan for promotions and where they thought I ought to be was different from what I saw myself. So I set some goals and some timelines. So my thing was, if by 30 years old, if I was not on a fast track to becoming a store manager, I was going to change paths. So I started the development prior to becoming 30. I started taking real estate classes. So I had a plan B, and my plan B was to learn to become a licensed real estate agent, become a real estate broker, and own a real estate company.
Which you did.
I had a plan, and I got confidence from working for Sears Roebuck and taking care of their business, so I treated their business as if it was mine. Mm-hmm. And then when in '88, when we opened our real estate and construction company, it was because of the thinking. Didn't have any money. I didn't give a second thought about how I was going to capitalize the project. Now, I don't recommend anybody do that. I was so full of passion and excitement. I knew the answer was not no. I couldn't fail because it wasn't in my thinking. So I refused to lose, and that propelled those tough times, and it helped me to move on to get some things going, running a real estate company. And I like to talk about you read about the road to wherever you're going starts with the first step. And the first step, I remember when I told my store manager that I was going to retire from the retail management business. He told me, he said, Charles, if you leave here, we're not going to be able to hire you back. If we did, it couldn't do it immediately. So my thing to him was, please promise that you won't. Please don't hire me back. Because that would mean that I gave up too quick on my dream. Mm-hmm. I never looked back. But it all was based on my thinking. I thought I would succeed, and I achieved some levels of success.
And that was the last time you worked for somebody?
That was the last time I looked at a time clock and reported to being present.
So how long ago was that?
It was in 1985.
Wow. 33 years.
And it was not a comfortable time to do that. We had I was going into the real estate business. We had double-digit interest rates. The market was crazy. It was not a good time.
You gotta have some courage. So
it's always a good time to follow your dream, though.
So guys, what y'all are getting out of this is you gotta take action, y'all. The lights are never gonna be green. All lights won't be green. You gotta go right now. Whatever you want, you gotta go right now. You can't think your way through it only. You gotta I think the first step is hard, but the first thought is even harder. Even allowing yourself to think, but you need to think the right way,
Well, it means getting out of the trail that many have traveled through. When I was a young man, the whole idea was find a corporation, work for them, and then work so many years, you get the golden
Thank you.
To get the golden handshake. So you get a pension, you get the watch, and then they give you a plaque. So here I was 21 years old to reach 65, which was considered the retirement age. I was going to have to do that for 44 years.
No,
And
it ain't worth it.
Man, I can't. I refuse to live somebody else's dream for those number of years. So I had to go for it.
Times change, yeah, times change. Well, I think times don't change. I think circumstances change. Times are always the same. But so that brings us to the next thing. So for you all at Watch Periscopes, and Watch my Twitter, I talk about manhood and masculinity. You also know I talk about personal development. So let's talk about manhood and where you see it just in our culture right now and where it's going.
Well, let me relate to. Let me give you a little history about my road to manhood. I wish I could tell you that I had a pattern. Someone laid it out to me, and I just followed the dots, and everything turned out well. But the culture that I came in, it was strongly a matriarchal culture. My grandmother was the dominant person. My grandfather, he died as I was a very young fella. And so she couldn't teach me about manhood, but she taught me a lot of concepts about being responsible, about being diligent, and certain concepts about, she taught me protocols. But manhood was a journey that I just had a passion. I wanted to be a man. And I started the same way with learning how to think and pursuing information about what is a man.
Yeah, talk about that, because we got a lot of guys that's raised by single parents now, and they really don't have a grasp on what it means to be a man.
And I don't know where it started at. I guess as a little boy, I knew I was, boys growing to men. So I thought, okay, what does this man look like? And there were a number of men that came along that had attributes that I could see myself adopting some of those into my own personal philosophy. But I did it almost like you would do a research paper. I started looking at models, trying to figure out, what do men do? How do men react to things? How do you determine what's strong? I wanted to be a strong man.
So how do you do it? What did you do?
It's almost like making sausage. It involves a whole lot of stuff, and all the experiences wasn't good. And I had some painful things. I had some failures. I had some knocking off my horse kind of experiences. And I think it was a matter of grace. And I had so much help along the way. I had some mentors that came along and planted a seed of encouragement.
So what should a guy do that in today's age that is, they didn't have a dad growing up, or they might have had a dad who really wasn't what it needed to be to become a man?
I think it's inside a man is driven. There's so much is innate. I am a male. A developed species of me is a man. But now, because I develop physically, it doesn't mean I evolve into this thing called a man. So I had to find out, what do men do? How do they respond? I had to get a working understanding of what men do. I knew that men were strong. So I started developing characteristics and information that led to me being strong. Men had convictions, core values. So that's where the village came in and helped me to understand what core values is necessary to be a functioning, strong man. I didn't want to just be a run-of-the-mill man. I wanted to be a strong man. And so it meant that I had to push it a little harder. I had to be willing to value other people. I had to value other people. I had to value those who kept me on my path, those who encouraged me, those who were there for me during those tough times. I wished it was a simple formula where we could just write a recipe out, H2O equals water. But it's a process. It's a process, and many of us reach that place.
You said, do you recommend any books on the subject of manhood? The Case for Character. The Case for Character, you know what I'm talking about?
I didn't read that book.
Oh, you gave it to me.
I gave it to you.
Hold on, y'all. Look, so my dad gave me Case for Character when I was screwing up in college and partying too much, and I wouldn't get my grades. Yeah, he gave me that book. I don't think I read it, but I think I was supposed to do like a book report or something like that on it. But he was
well, what I did, if you don't remember, I'll help you remember that part. I told you.
Hold on, y'all. Hey. Red Pill and MG Toe. My dad doesn't really know too much about that, so we don't have the answer. We don't know the answer on that one.
Stephen, I think after his freshman year in college, he had his grades are so terrible that I don't even remember the letters.
Yeah.
So my whole philosophy about changing behavior is changing the thinking. So I wasn't punitive. I didn't beat him. I didn't do any of those kind of things. He had to do a report on time management.
Yeah.
And I required, double space, so many pages.
20
pages?
Yeah, okay. 20 pages.
And through that whole process, you learn how to manage your time. Because I think you told me later, I don't know what year that was in, I know it was after your freshman year, you kept that time management report that you did.
Oh, yeah.
To work through other things you dealt with later.
I still deal with that time. What I learned from that time management paper I had to write probably was equivalent to what I learned from my whole first semester of college. Well, I ain't learned that in my first semester of college, but that was what I learned. So they asked a question, do you think drop shipping is a good way to get into entrepreneurship? So let's talk about entrepreneurship for a second. So,
who is that, right?
Liquid Richard. I don't know who that is.
Hello, Liquid Richard.
So entrepreneurship, is drop shipping a good way to get into entrepreneurship? Guys, this is what I want you to understand about entrepreneurship. First of all, you gotta get out there. Second of all, you gotta stay out there. If drop shipping can keep you out there in the world of business, it's good for you.
If that's your passion. Now, there were people who recommended to me, and I've been involved in a lot of different kind of businesses. And there's some businesses I don't have any interest in, and I don't care how much money it makes. I'm not going to do it. It's not my passion. And I think to follow a path of entrepreneurship because someone else does well, and it's not your passion, I don't recommend you do it. Because, especially at the entry level of entrepreneurship, there are times when it's so easy to quit, situation will present themselves. It has to have that drive that, man, there's no quit in it. When passion is driving it, but now, passion also should be fueled by good planning. I don't recommend anyone just decide they want to go into business without doing the proper research.
So you can get skinned up.
Oh,
you get skinned up out here. I think, so guys, I'll talk about that too a lot. So as it relates to how we plan, first of all, why are you starting this business? Why are you getting into entrepreneurship? I think that's the main focus. First, why do you want to do that? You want to have another stream of income? Or are you trying to provide a different lifestyle for your family, yourself? Do you want freedom? X, Y, and Z. You need to find out that reason. Do you leverage real estate wholesaling at any point? Yes, I have done it. Have you done wholesaling?
I have done wholesaling.
What's up, Adam?
My basic history in real estate, and I did a lot of real estate investing. I did a lot of buying and flipping. I did a lot of buying and keeping. I do regret in my real estate career I bought and kept too many because I never intended to be in the rental business. But I made some investments that were easy to get into, and I didn't research some as thoroughly as I should have, because I got out of.
Appreciate that.
I bought properties. They didn't sell immediately. I didn't put as much research into the timeline of how quick can I turn them over. So I ended up keeping properties and I got into the rental business. But that was not my passion. Rental was never my passion. Buying and reselling was my passion. And when I stayed with my passion, I did well.
So, next thing, going through a real estate recession as a person in real estate, can you give some people some pointers of how you know, how to kind of avoid some of the things that caught a lot of real estate investors back in 2008?
Well, it's just like the bubble. The more it blows up and the bigger it gets, you can be sure that as with a curve, it goes up and it comes back down. Mm-hmm. When you find yourself at the top of the curve, and you got to look at statistics of where it's been before, and know that anytime prices are highly inflated, they're going to deflate. And start developing a holding plan or a getting rid of them plan. Mm-hmm. So to sit there and don't do anything is going to be catastrophic. It's not going to be good. So when one is, see, that's the other part of being passionate. When you're involved in whatever industry that you're in, you need to be an expert on it. You need to know the questions, the answers, and know the trends. No business that I've ever been involved in was I able to just put it on automatic pilot and just roll with the flow. It required that I had to be at the table daily, looking at the past, planning the route for the future, and then managing what's happening on the table today.
Another question for you. As relates to real estate, is wholesaling the best way for somebody who has a little amount of money to get into the real estate business?
Well, see, the thing about real estate is so many ways to get into the real estate business. Let's say for wholesaling, for instance, you may you got to have a source of deals, and then you got to have a source of financing. And if you have the means to get the deal financed, and you're able to get see the nature of wholesaling is you got to get to it before the retailers get to it.
Yeah.
So that means you got to have a source of properties that crossing your desk that you're getting before somebody else gets them, and it has to be of value. You got to buy it at discount rate. You cannot pay retail prices and then still sell wholesale. Yeah. It has to be a good spread in there. Now, the way I bought properties, I usually wanted to buy 65 to 70% of retail value. And that gave me enough of a spread that I could hold it. I could, in many cases, even on wholesale, there was a few things cosmetically I needed to do to the property. So if I had enough of an edge in there, I could come out. Mm-hmm. But if I paid more than 65 to 70% for the property, talking about market value, I can talk about wholesaling, and then I got to find motivated sellers.
For wholesaling, right?
Yeah.
So, guys, this is a story. This is when I did wholesaling. What was that? 6 years ago? 7 years ago?
Well, these time flies.
No, it was like 8 years ago.
Probably was.
Yeah, it was like 8 years ago. I was doing my first wholesale deal, and here's the crazy part about it. My mom actually sold this property to somebody 20 years ago, and so it was it was in Holt.
Yeah.
Holt, Alabama, and
was it Virginia Drive?
Virginia, no, it was Virginia Drive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it was on Virginia Drive it was on a street that we had some other property on.
That's right.
And so I went to do the whole deal, and my dad was like, "Son, you're not gonna get a buy for this. Like, it's just terrible." I think I got under contract for like $40,000. Mm-hmm. And I was so, I got some kid from this other kid. He was like a year or two younger than me. He comes down from Kentucky. And I get the kid to get the house under contract, and he buys it for $42,000. Mm-hmm. I made $2,000 on my first wholesale deal, and in my opinion, knowing what I know now about wholesaling, you need to get your money up first. Get your money up. Don't do wholesaling if you don't have to. Okay, you can work a job or build another stream of income up. do that and then go into buying real estate the real way. Not to say wholesaling is not the real way. I think that it's too easy.
Well, it can be. Now, I ain't gonna get into the particulars of that deal that you did because I still didn't feel good about it because it was risk involved. You didn't have any money. It was by chance. So when a deal is done properly, it ought to be a path that you can tell somebody else how to do it.
Yeah.
The way you came into that deal wasn't a good path.
No.
It's just by chance, and it just happened to work out to some extent.
But I did it in 30 days.
Yeah.
I did it in 30 days. I spent maybe $70, $80 total.
Right.
I wouldn't do it that way. I think I lucked up because I didn't get too many bumps and bruises on that one.
No, it
could have went bad.
It could have went bad. It could have went real bad. But this is what I say about anyone who wants to. The best place to practice on buying some real estate is to buy an owner-occupant property first. Buy something to live in. And ideally, if you can find a property that you can buy undervalued, put some sweat equity into it.
What's up, Destiny?
Sit in it for a year, because this is something I would challenge you, whatever city you live in. One of the easiest ways to find some decent properties in most cities is go to HUD.gov. HUD.gov. And then you look on the properties for sale, and they have a listing for every state in America where they have some FHA finance loans on properties that got foreclosed. And in many cities, they're very undervalued. They're undervalued extensively.
What you think about tax properties? Tax deed properties.
I do not think very highly of them, because this is the deal. You'll get, in a tax sale, you get a tax deed, a sheriff's deed. That's what they give you. And that deed, according to title companies, is not highly able to pass on good title.
Transferable, right?
Yeah, not easily transferable. Yeah. So I don't want any property that I can't easily sell to someone else. Because see, the other thing about tax sales, in most states, they have a right of redemption. They can come back and pay the tax with a 12% interest in the state of Alabama. They can pay, if you paid $5,000 for a $20,000 piece of property in a tax sale, they got the whole year to come back, give you that $5,000 back plus 12% interest, and you have to give it to them.
Yeah, it depends on the state.
Depends on the state. Yeah, you have to look at the state laws. State laws are different in most all of the states. I'm talking about the state of Alabama is 12%. So I don't want a property, hello Louisiana, I don't want a property that I can't easily sell. Now I'm locked to a property and my $5,000 is tied up. And sometimes the period of redemption is over 2 years.
No, I think it might be, is it 3 years in Alabama?
It very well might be now, because
I know it's a long period of time. Thoughts on renting Section 8 tenants? Don't do it.
Well, I won't.
Don't do it.
I won't say that, because
I had to clean up a whole bunch of Section 8.
I have said. See, now let me just qualify a reaction to that. You don't, Section 8, let me just tell many people have misconception what Section 8 is. Section 8 is a person that's qualified with a housing authority, that they're going to get a subsidization of their rent. Sometimes all of it is paid by them, but they get to choose the house and approve that they want to live there, a house or apartment. So there's no, in my mind, there's no such thing as a Section 8 house. It's a house that an agreement has been reached to lease it to the person, and Section 8 is subsidizing the rent amount. Now, I've had some some great experiences. I've had some that didn't go so well, but it does require a high level of management. And I went to sleep on a few of them where I was so, because sometimes they pay well, sometimes they pay a little bit above market what I would have got in a competitive, just anyone who walks up kind of a market. So I got a little favor by renting to Section 8. But I've had some great experiences, and I've had some that wasn't so good.
What about what was your best deal? Best flipping deal? Numbers or margin?
Well, let's see. Let's look at that. We got to qualify the statement.
Yeah. So all right. So as far as profit margin.
Okay. Because
Profit margin. Yeah.
When you're talking about return on investment, usually I never had any money in the deal. So profit, it was always 100+% because I didn't have any money in the deal. So how in the world were you able to do that? Because a number of times I pledged equity to the bank. I had equity on another property, and I got a loan.
So you leverage other property
to buy this property. Yeah. So traditionally, well, let's talk about one you're familiar with. This property, the garden home we did on spring break one year.
Which one?
That was, Pottery Meadows.
Okay.
So one good thing, it was a HUD foreclosure. I think they advertised the property at, let's say, $50,000, and they advertised it as a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. So we go over there. Somebody dropped the ball. It was actually 4 bedrooms, 2 baths.
Oh yeah.
So it was cosmetic, and when I say cosmetic, usually that's carpet, paint, vinyl, sometimes countertops, and upgrade the kitchen. So it was a spring break project for the family. So I think we went in there, and it's always timing. Also, I think in a matter of a 90-day turnaround, we probably got made about $25,000.
90 days.
90 days, yeah.
What all right, we're gonna wrap this up. So 3 short things I think every entrepreneur that's starting out, what should they know? Or what should they be thinking? What as far as mindset, what should they be doing? It's always great when you can do the work yourself. Look, let me tell you something. My dad had me working like crazy on these houses. And he worked a lot too on these houses.
Well, it was a family affair in many cases where, hey, this is how we got our vacation money. I mean, it wasn't, it wasn't free. But back to
3 things that every entrepreneur should have that's starting out, like, as far as mindset. What should it be?
You gotta have a sense of who you are. You gotta have some core values. There's things I'm not going to do. I won't do anything for money because life and business situations will put you in a place where you got to know who you are. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna steal, I ain't gonna cheat. And if the deal doesn't meet the standards of what I want in terms of my personal values, I'm not gonna do the deal. I'll walk away, and I can't be persuaded to go against my personal core values. So that's a sense of self. Mm-hmm. I challenge anyone to know who you are, define yourself, be yourself, then come to the table. The other thing is, there's no free lunches.
No free lunch.
I've been offered free lunches.
Appreciate you, Adam. Tool, appreciate it.
And I always knew that free lunches do not satisfy, and they're not free. So I wanted to, in any interaction.
Let's go on that free lunch a little bit. Explain that. I'll give an example of that. How you can get started in a multifamily without capital, bank loan? Hold on, I'll answer that one. Guys, look, when it comes to real estate, if you don't have any money, you need to get some money first as far as multifamily. Now, with that being said, now you can do a 4-plex. You can get a residential loan on that. But again, you're going to have some type of money to put down.
That's correct. Now, you hear reports about no money down, and I have done a number of no money down deals. None of my money, but some money had to go down.
Yes, always money goes down.
There are requirements that banks and lending institutions have to meet. So I just didn't have any money in mind. So I have done deals where I have went into a partnership where the other person had some money. They put the money up. Matter of fact, they got the financing. I just provided the expertise and did the deal. We flipped the property. We split the proceeds. So there's so many ways around not having money. But let me show you what happens on the flip side. nobody, picture your own self. Are you willing to give somebody some money and you got 100% of the money in the deal and they got nothing to lose? They tend to walk away easily. So skin has to be in the game. Got to be some skin in the game. Somebody's skin. Because foreclosures are real. They do happen. And for good, sound lending practices, somebody's got to give up something.
Yeah, and just because you see all this stuff on HGTV, all these flips and all that stuff makes it seem like it's easy. It's not that way in real life. You know, we were living out there in Denver, Colorado a couple years ago.
Yeah, I was
great city
over in Inglewood, year before last.
Yeah, you got some sky high housing prices
in Inglewood. And I tell you what, out in Denver area, it was very difficult to find any deals on real estate. I mean, they're very proud of their real estate, and they tend to be able to get market prices because it's a booming economy, and housing costs is very high, very high.
But to the point where we're talking about, guys, just because y'all see this stuff on TV, just because you see stuff on Instagram about these people flipping houses, another thing for y'all who want to do your first fix and flip, or you want to do a buy and hold, guys, you got to calculate carrying costs. When you get into these flips and you think it's going to be a 60-day flip and your contractor's acting up, your plumber's doing this, they tear out some sheetrock and they find out the electrical system, oh, you got to rewire the whole thing. Now you got a 30-day or 60-day flip that turns into 120 days, into 180 days. What are you going to do? And that's where you get in bad situations when you're on a no money down type of situation, because you don't have skin in the game, and you went hard money with a 9 month terms. They got crazy points on it, crazy interest rates. You can really get yourself in a bad position quickly, you know.
And I'm gonna tell you now, I've been in some deals that it was very easy for me to get into because I studied the practice of how to buy real estate with no money, and I had to do that because I didn't have any money. And
soon there'll be a downturn in the housing market. I'm going to start buying up.
Okay. Do it with all the knowledge you can get, because if it was easy, everybody would do it. Those things that look easy, sometimes they come with challenges and other opportunities that need to be worked through. So don't
read. Look, hey, I got two questions. One is how to get a good contractor, Adam asked, and the next one is this one, read. All right, look, reading is part of it, but it's not everything. You're gonna have to get out there and network. Okay, you need to be going to your local RIA, Real Estate Investment Associations.
Yeah.
You're gonna go out there and just shake some hands, kiss the babies, and learn your market, not just the housing, but the people in the industry of real estate in your area. The next question was, how do you find a good contractor?
You work the circle first. You talk to your circle. I'll tell a story later on about your circle that ought to involve at least 200 people, but I'll get into that another time. But 200 people that feel good about you, talk to them. Ask them who they know. Anytime you want to know anything about anybody, ask your people around you, who do you know? Who have you heard about? Then keep your ear to the ground. And sometimes those who advertisements sometimes will give you inroads with some good people, but your circle is your unpaid advisors. Work your circle. That's your family, your friends, your church folks, all the people that you have interaction that feel good about you.
I think the next thing, I work with contractors basically every day. The next thing you gotta do, you gotta talk to them. Talk to a bunch of them. All right. Even if for a person that's a novice real estate investor, or you're interested in real estate, here's the next thing, guys. You don't have to buy the house to go find a contractor. You need to practice pulling the trigger. So even if you don't have the money, go talk to the contractor. Go talk to them on the phone. Interview 10, 15, 20, 30 of them. Walk up on the job. Hey, I see you just left this house. Hey, can I just have a look at it? Just see what it. You'd be surprised what you can get just by asking questions and getting out of your comfort zone with these guys. Because they can educate you, and you can start to understand the vocabulary they're using, the lingo these guys are using, the type of tools they need, and how a job is supposed to look. Because they're going to give you their best job on their website. or their Instagram, but you need to see these guys and how they do. I think one thing for me as a stickler for contractors is cleanliness. Cleanliness on their job site. That's gonna see. These are things that can get you really boogered up on a deal. You get a contract on there, and you get somebody hurt on the house. You screwed. You know, you can really be in a bad position. Hey, what's up? You know, you can get yourself in a bad position. These guys are not keeping a tidy workspace. Who was it that tripped and fell and cut their finger? Was it Al? You remember what I'm talking about? He cut his thumb off.
Oh,
he tripped and fell.
Let me tell you now. That was what we call it, move your hand.
Move your hand, yeah. Move your hand, yeah.
Move your hand, Larry. Okay, yeah. Larry cut his finger off, but this is what we did not know was that Larry had been indulging most of the night. So neither one of us was on the job site, and he comes to the job site, still not at himself completely, very careless, cuts his finger off. Now, it could have been a real travesty, because let me tell you something, this is something that you don't get into when we talk about all the beautiful things of investment. We had some potential liability out there because they came to us saying, hey, Larry cut his hand on your job. And what we had to turn around and do was to declare that Larry was an independent contractor who was responsible for his own safety. And we were able to ride that out. But it also taught me a lesson that really before you come on my property, I need to have some assurances that your insurances are covered, that I don't have any liability for your actions.
And that's why, again, guys, when you trying to go the cheap route with these contractors, you're going to get what you pay for. And it's going to be sometimes going to be a lot more expensive. So you got to dot your I's and cross your T's, guys. It's not just some fix flip, you go make 20 grand. You got to really sit down and get your paperwork in order. And if you have somebody out there that's coming on the house, get on the roof, you know, touching electrical, you know, items, things like that, guys, you got to get them on paperwork of some sort.
It will bite you. It will hurt so bad. And you never anticipate somebody doing something dumb. But never thought Larry would cut his own finger off. But he did it.
He did it.
He did cut his own finger off.
We got a question, should we try to renovate homes to resell? Is this more of an expensive route? 1099. No, 1099 is not enough. 1099 is not enough to cover you in that situation. It's just for taxes, right? You got to have something that's like an independent contractor.
Well, you need if you're the property owner, there's an implied liability that you have unless you release yourself from the liability by the agreement you have with the contractor. So the contractor need to have his insurance covered of himself and all his subordinates that's reporting to him. So these are things that I learned later, and by the grace of God, I didn't have to suffer losses as a result of. But lawyers are always in tune to go for the deep pockets. And
that's the thing, guys. Again, it goes back to what you were saying, was that when you have skin in the game, if you're the person who is putting that money out, and that's for some of y'all who have a good amount of savings, and you say, hey, I'm just gonna give some money to somebody and let them flip. You're on the hook, okay? They can come out there and sue you if somebody get hurt, instead of the person who don't have no money in the deal.
Right.
If
your name's on the title, yeah, that's a great deal of liability.
So Don Limited, I'm sorry, who is this? Free Filters HVAC. He says, if you had to pick one strategy, which is best, cash flow, appreciation, or equity off improvements?
It depends on what you are and what your expectations from the investment are. Now I wanted appreciation, but see, I wasn't concerned about cash flow because my initial concern was I didn't want to hold property. I wanted to buy it and flip it. So appreciation, well, let me go to what my thinking was. My initial thinking was I want easy entry. I wanted to be able to get into the property, and I need to find a means to do it without money out of my pocket. Right. Then I also, and I shared this with you on occasion, I never look for opportunities to do bone surgery. The bone surgery, that's when I got to deal with the foundations, I got to deal with structure of the roof, not just putting a roof on. For a good investor, and time is of essence always with me. I want to be in and out because interest, dollars, borrowed money requires daily interest. So by getting in and out in a good project, I should be able to get in and out in 30 days.
And we had a lot of those. We had a lot of them 30-day type of flips. Now, with that being said, guys, we did do some bone surgery on a few of them, but we had a very good crew that we trusted. That takes time, y'all. A lot of these things takes time. Flipping or renting was the question. So again, we've talked about renting, we talked about flipping. Guys, you got to know why you're doing it
And what you want.
And what you want, right? Because your personality you might want to be more involved with contractors and all the ups and downs that it takes to flip a property.
And you may not want to be a landlord. And see, you don't have to be a landlord. You could farm that out to a property management company, but let me show you what it compares against. Do you buy stocks for dividend or increase in stock price?
Right.
Some buy just for the regular dividend income that comes in quarterly. So if that's your forte, then you do that. But that's for some others, they're buying low to sell high. And
I think
you know what you want.
I think that's you really gotta have an investing philosophy. So before even though I've been in real estate, because of my dad, I've been in, and my mom, she can't fit in here. She's chilling right now. But the thing is, you gotta have a philosophy regarding how you invest. Now, I read a bunch of stock stuff first. That was my first me investing. I had a house my partner and I were going to buy, but the loan 10% cost short term, no way. You have to make that make a little better sense for me. I'm not really catching what you're saying.
What are you saying? The interest rate was 10%?
They talking about short term at 10%?
Oh, that sounds like a hard money lender.
Oh, that's definitely hard money. With a partner?
Yeah.
Yeah, them hard money, you better know what you're doing.
Because more time costs more money.
Yeah.
10% rate, okay. You know, if there's enough money to be made in the deal, I have paid higher than market rate because I got the terms I wanted. So my strategy about investing has always been about win-win. I never beat a seller down when I wanted to buy their property because I always reserved a walk away. I never told someone what their property was worth. I told them what I was willing to pay. And I want to have a relationship with that person who sold me their property or bought the property from me that they won. So I don't take all the profit out of the deal, nor do I want to beat down the seller I'm buying a property from that they don't ever want to see me again.
Yeah, I think, and guys, if you're going to be in a market, you're going to probably see these people again. Hey, what's up from Turkey? How you doing? If you're in these markets, you're going to cross paths with people more than once, and especially if you plan on doing this for a long time, you're going to see these people over and over again. And so have one hand wash the other, as opposed to trying to beat them right now, because they might be a seller today, but they might be a buyer of your property in another day.
That goes back to the initial question about entrepreneurship. What are some of the basic core value deals? Be true to yourself. Be authentic. Be the kind of person who wins, but also like to see other people win. When everybody's winning, they start finding you. I'll tell you one deal that I remember. I was driving somewhere one morning, and this person called me and said, we have an inherited property we want to sell. Do you want to buy? So I'm almost in the neighborhood, so I drive over and I look at it, and I did an on-the-spot kind of inspection. I formulated a value that I was willing to pay based on what I could see. So when I do things like that, I'm also factoring in what I can't see based on the things I do see. And so when I gave them a proposal verbally, they said, "Oh, we need more money. And you're saying my house is not worth no more than that?" No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not debating what your property is worth. All I can tell you is what I'm willing to pay so I can come out. So I'm not insulting them by telling them their property is not valuable. At this value, I can come out. I can buy it. I can take the risk for whatever improvements need to be made. And I can give you the money in a short term. So with those kind of situations, we made the deal. We came out okay. But it's all about people. As much as all the things I did in business, in many cases it made money. But I knew the most invaluable thing was keeping the relationship with people. Leading them to believe that they won to some extent. And then I want them to feel good that I'm going to win. Because I never told anybody that I wanted to buy from them and that I wasn't going to make any money. Because if I wasn't going to make any money, I wasn't going to do a deal. I'm not doing a deal.
Anything you want to leave everybody with?
I'm going to let you prompt that. You're such a great prompter. As you look at what's been shared on the reports you have there. And,
well, guys, what I wanted to say to y'all was I really appreciate you all popping up on this Periscope. I've been making these videos now a little over a year. I've gotten way better at them, and I appreciate all the feedback I get from y'all on DMs, on Twitter, on Instagram, in real life. All the people I met through this year at this. Guys, I really wanted to do this with my dad because I want him to start to share this information with you all on Twitter, on Periscope, because he has so much knowledge, and somebody needs to hear it because it's a lot of people that need that help. And as you all know, y'all think I might know a little bit. I only know a little bit about business. My dad knows so much, and he's here to help me, and he's helped me a lot, and he's also here to help y'all. He's going to be on here a lot more often. I'm probably going to get him his own Twitter here soon, so he'll make his own Periscopes, all that stuff here soon. Guys, I appreciate all the questions you asked. I appreciate y'all staying classy on here, not being some, buttholes about things like y'all do sometimes. But I appreciate all that. Appreciate the love. Guys, we're going to be dropping some more stuff soon. Me and my dad are going to be having a beta group, okay? We're going to be making a group for the first 6 weeks of 2019. We're going to be bringing people, entrepreneurs in, and we're going to teach you all mindset over the next 6 months. Do y'all do real estate consulting? Yes. My dad has, 33 years of real estate investing experience now? Or 40 years now? When did you buy your first house?
I bought my first house in 1980. No, my bad. I bought it in 76 because I bought it on an occupant property. I was got out of college in 1975, and I hated paying rent. I mean, it's crazy. Nobody would ever believe this, but I had a rented apartment that was furnished and utilities paid, and my rent was $35 a month. I thought that was a little high. So I bought a little house, and I never really paid rent. Never paid rent because I just couldn't fathom the whole idea of paying an exorbitant price to pay monthly. So I started buying property then, and that was the beginning of a great adventure.
All right, y'all. Look, I appreciate y'all. I will be getting back with y'all soon. Brazil in 30 days, y'all. So I'm working on my Portuguese. Eu falo pouco de português. Okay, I speak a little bit of Portuguese right now, but I got to get a whole lot more in because I'm gonna be there for a couple months. I'm gonna be working. We're gonna be again, guys. We're gonna be doing a beta group of entrepreneurs, teaching you all about mindset and helping usher you into your 2019. All right, so I will be sharing more details on that soon. My dad will be a part of that group. He'll be leading that with me. We're doing that together. Anyway, y'all, if y'all have any other questions, y'all DM me, and we'll be talking soon.
Good night.